The NBA regular season is approaching quickly, and I gotta admit, for myself personally, this is one of the most exciting build-ups to a season that I can remember. The league is jam-packed with talent, there's new faces in new places, and many of the contending teams have retooled and seem poised to make their own championship run. So with this in mind, how will this upcoming season potentially affect the legacies of the greatest superstars involved? Today, I'll do my best to answer that as we take a look at the Eastern Conference, analyzing some of the best and worst outcomes for each superstar. So without further ado, let's get into it. First off, let's take a look at Giannis. One could argue that his legacy and reputation are already firmly solidified, thanks to his championship and Finals MVP in 2021. But after last season's embarrassing first-round exit, I honestly think his reputation could greatly sway one way or the other, depending on the conclusion of their season. It was one thing for Giannis to win the NBA championship with no legitimate second superstar. But now, with Damian Lillard in the lineup, he'll experience something that he hasn't yet in his NBA career: the pressure of championship expectations. If he delivers on a second championship for Milwaukee, then his legacy will take a massive leap forward, and I think the conversation will begin on whether or not he's a top 15 player on the all-time list. If he fails to win a championship and is eliminated in either the NBA Finals or the Conference Finals, then I think his legacy will basically remain the same as it is today. But if he's eliminated yet again in the first or second round, then it will be a crippling blow to his reputation, considering the immensely stacked roster that he now has supporting him. Another early playoff exit could be the birth of a new negative narrative about him, which is that the 2021 championship was a fluke for a player who otherwise folds in the postseason. I personally would not agree with that narrative even if we got to that point, but all I'm saying is that the writing is on the wall, and I know how these narratives formulate. Next up is Damian Lillard. It is officially put up or shut up time for Dame. For years, this guy was perceived as one of, if not the, most loyal player in the NBA. But recently, he threw all of that away by forcing his way out of Portland for the sake of a championship. With this being the case, a championship season will be the only thing that will satisfy his critics. Even if there is a massive reduction to his averages, I still think the best thing that he could possibly accomplish for his legacy is a championship trophy. It would also do a lot for his reputation as a competitor and as a winner if he steps up his game this season on the defensive end of the court. A solid defensive effort is something he's never been known for, which is why it would mean a lot, because it would indicate that he's ready to make the sacrifices necessary and fill whatever role he needs to fill for his team to be successful. Next, let's travel to Boston and take a look at Jason Tatum. He will be turning 26 during the NBA season, and although that is still young for a professional career, he's officially at the point where he's closer to his 30s than to his teens. The self-imposed comparisons to Kobe Bryant have always seemed to be a bit much, but at a certain point, if you want the comparison to mean anything, you have to start winning. The Boston Celtics seem to be at risk of becoming the modern-day version of the mid-2000s Phoenix Suns, in the sense that they're extremely talented, they're always considered among the title contenders, but they can never seem to get it done. With the top of the East only getting stronger, it's gonna take a Herculean effort from Tatum to get his team over the hump in the postseason. I don't necessarily think his reputation or legacy crumbles if he can't get it done this season, but with each passing year, people are taking more and more notice. And if he's not careful, he'll earn that dreaded label of the best player in the league to never win a championship. Next up, let's take a look at Jimmy Butler. After an improbable 8-seeded finals run, and after a failed attempt at acquiring Damian Lillard, everyone seems to be writing off this Miami Heat squad from doing anything special, which once again is the perfect place for Jimmy to be for him to continue to build his legacy. He's simply one of the most unique superstars I've ever seen, because although his regular season numbers look like the average year for Paul George, he basically turns into Michael Jordan's heir apparent in the postseason. Let's be real, no one is expecting them to win a championship this year, so I hesitate to even talk about what that could possibly do for his legacy. But let's hypothetically say that the Heat make yet another improbable finals run just to end up being eliminated. At that point, I think Jimmy will be viewed with a unique lens as an NBA legend. Similar to a former great like Allen Iverson, he'll be viewed as an icon and as a winner regardless of the fact that he's never actually won an NBA championship. With all of that being said, I don't think he has much to lose with an early playoff exit, because ever since the Lillard sweepstakes fell through, the expectations for them basically haven't been very high ever since. Next, let's evaluate the situation of Joel Embiid. Honestly, I can't remember a time where a league MVP was scrutinized so heavily in the offseason since Dirk Nowitzki won the award in 2007 just to get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. He does have some defenders out there, but at this point they're few and far between, as the general basketball audience seems convinced that the Joker was the more deserving MVP candidate last season. Add on the fact that he continuously comes up small in the postseason, and obviously, it will be no easy task for him to repair his broken reputation. Truly, I don't think another solid MVP-worthy regular season would do it. As far as I'm concerned, there's only two possible scenarios where he changes his perception in a more positive direction. One, he has an MVP caliber season that is so historic and where the numbers are so outlandish that it takes the sour taste out of people's mouths for his seemingly undeserving MVP last season. Or two, he leads his team to the NBA Finals as the clear top performer on his squad. Lastly, let's tackle the situation of James Harden. I've seen this song and dance time and time again. An NBA superstar who was immensely talented gets to the point in his career where general managers no longer think he's worth the drama. The reality is, Harden is extremely close to that point. It's unclear which jersey he'll be wearing when the games actually start. Regardless if it's Philadelphia, Los Angeles, or somewhere else, he'll have a lot to prove. As talented as he is, I feel like this is his last chance to be comfortable with a team in the NBA. Honestly, a part of me is shocked that some organizations are still willing to take a chance on him, despite the fact that he's continuously disgruntled over and over again. No matter where he ends up, I think most of us recognize at this point that it doesn't matter how strong his numbers are or how impressive his individual performance is. But what matters for him moving forward is if he gels well with his teammates, and if he's happy with the organization. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm not expecting that to happen, as he's clearly the common denominator in these constant problematic situations. Hypothetically, if he ends up with a team like the Clippers, and is so frustrated that he busts out the fat suit once again, it will probably be the last time he'll ever wear a fat suit as a pro. So what do you guys think? Who's a player in the Eastern Conference who has a lot on the line in this upcoming season? Also, make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow's video, where we take a look at the Western Conference superstars. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.